Every new book release is filled with smaller fun facts, Easter eggs, references to Star Wars legends, and more, and Black Spire by Delilah Dawson is no different. Today I'm going to run through the list of everything I picked out while reading. There will be some spoilers for the book ahead. The first chapter takes place weeks after the events of the book Phasma, showing Vi Moradi in medical recovery under the care of Major Colonia, the doctor who treated Chewbacca in The Force Awakens. That chapter takes place as Leia prepares to leave for Takodana, and the Hosnian cataclysm occurs at the end of the chapter. Leia and Vi discuss potential locations for a Resistance base, and they settle on Batuu. Leia says Han told her all about the planet, and we can see one of his visits to Black Spire Outpost in the first issue of the Galaxy's Edge comic. Captain Cardinal spends some time on the planet Saria, breaking free from First Order programming. He stays in one of the Outsider Citadels, a concept established in Legends that allowed non-Sarians to use their technology without contaminating the planet's nature. Vi mentions something called the Dance of the Three Suns, probably a reference to the three stars in the Saria system. Vi has a droid nicknamed Pook with her, a PK Ultra Series droid. The PK Series worker droid was also created in Legends, and Pook's description matches its old visual representation. At least part of the reason the First Order is able to take control of the galaxy so quickly is because most citizens don't know that Starkiller Base has been destroyed, or if they do, they fear another weapon could still be out there ready to destroy them. Vi references a mission she wishes she could take part in, led by a new unit named Green Team, who would be infiltrating a Star Destroyer. Green Leader briefly appears at the end of the book, although they are unnamed. I'm wondering if we'll see that mission in a future story. As you might expect, there are a ton of references to Galaxy's Edge locations, characters, food, and drink, including Mubo and his droid depot, Ogagara and her cantina, Savvy and his salvage shop, Doc-Ondar and his antiquities, Cookie and the restaurant Docking Bay 7, Zabaka the Toydarian toy maker, Kat Sokka and his popped grain, Bina and the creature stall, Kamka and the Jewels of Bith shop, the ancient ruins, Ronto roasters, Spice Runner cider, Endorian tip yip, Dagobah slug slinger, White Wampa ale, Jedi mind trick, Jet juice, Felucian fizz, Gamorrean ale, and blue milk. The Trillon wishing tree makes an appearance, and I don't remember if it's actually at the park, but it's definitely shown in A Crash of Fate. Batuan colloquialisms are also used, and used often, including the phrases bright suns, rising moons, and till the spire. On the more subtle side, cast members at Oga's Cantina at Galaxy's Edge warn park visitors not to mention Wookiees around Oga because she had recently broken up with one. You actually get to see that relationship fall apart rather violently in the book. The Galma vicinity and its illegal pod races are mentioned, both of which came up when I was talking to cast members at Galaxy's Edge. Vi says a crash site looks like it was hit by Dardanellian locusts, a creature first mentioned in Claudia Gray's book Lost Stars. A mechanic named Salju is mentioned by name in the map for Galaxy's Edge. She appears in person in Black Spire, as well as Zoraida Cordova's Galaxy's Edge book, A Crash of Fate. Speaking of Zoraida, one of Savvy's employees in Black Spire is named Dora Zai, who I'm guessing is named after Cordova. At the droid depot, Mubo is described working on a KX droid, the same model as K2SO, but a KX2 series is also mentioned, likely the next iteration in that droid's design. A fearsome creature called a Naklor is said to live in the forest around Black Spire, and its description matches another creature that I believe appears in A Crash of Fate. Savvy is said to have grown up with and been a longtime friend of the recently deceased Lor San Tekka. When Vi speaks to a Duros, she uses the honorific Traveler and recalls that the species has a perfect memory. Both of those aspects of the Duros were established in Legends. Vi works for Savvy when she needs money and notes that the other gatherers are collecting what looks like pieces of old lightsabers, kyber crystals, and other strange artifacts. Savvy's shop is where you can secretly build your own lightsaber at the park. At one point, a gatherer asks Savvy if she can give Vi a lightsaber to help her mission, although she is cut off before she can call the weapon by name. Oga also hires Vi to make her way through some Indiana Jones-style traps to retrieve an artifact. The whole sequence is very similar to the end of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, which reminded me that Delilah Dawson also wrote a Raiders of the Lost Ark-inspired comic for Star Wars Adventures. The artifact itself is described as a necklace crafted of ethereal gems that burned with blue fire, and Vi says it feels wrong around her neck. Captain Cardinal, who now goes by the name Archex, spends his time carving small toys to sell at the toy shop, so if you buy any wooden figurines at Galaxy's Edge, you can pretend they were carved by Cardinal. The First Order antagonist of the story is Lieutenant Wulfgar Cath. He is described as a relentless hunter, and his name is likely a reference to the Cath Hounds of Dantooine, first created for Knights of the Old Republic, but already mentioned in canon in Phasma. He serves on a newly named First Order Star Destroyer, the Penumbra. Kath's time spent prowling Black Spire Outpost with stormtroopers is nearly identical to what I witnessed in the park itself whenever the First Order would stop to interrogate some unsuspecting tourists. Kylo Ren is referred to in the book multiple times as the Supreme Leader. It still sounds like most of the First Order has fallen in line behind his leadership. It's said that Kylo looks favorably on any scouting party that returns with Jedi or Sith artifacts. That lines up with the Galaxy's Edge comic, which shows the First Order after some piece of Sith history Dok-Ondar is holding on to. Rey, Finn, Poe, Rose, and Luke are all mentioned as well. There are some slight hints about what they and the rest of the Resistance might be up to, but it's pretty vague. Fossil, the Martigrade commanding officer of the Resistance's bomber squadrons, is also mentioned. She was created for the book Cobalt Squadron and appeared in a Star Wars Adventures comic written by Dawson. The word Patissa is used as kind of a sarcastic Huttese term of endearment. Patissa was the name of Jabba's Rancor, but it was also translated to Sweetie or Darling in the Star Wars Legacy comics. The Ebon Hawk is mentioned as an actual type of hawk, but of course that was also the name of the ship you flew in Knights of the Old Republic. Coruscant gets a mention, which seems rare in the canon as of late. It's still around and considered to be rich, much to the chagrin of the people of Batuu. Vi uses an Ubi's helmet as a disguise to stay undercover while she walks around Black Spire Outpost, the same kind of disguise Leia used to infiltrate Jabba's palace. She also gets a vibro brush in town for her hair, and I just think it's hilarious that you can add vibro to the start of any everyday object to make it Star Warsy. Vi mentions that no one in the Resistance gets paid outside of being provided room and board and a purpose. I don't think that's shocking, but I often get questions about whether or not stormtroopers or clone troopers were paid, so I figured it was worth mentioning. A Chadra fan mechanic joins the Resistance on Batuu, and she says she only sleeps a few hours a day, so she can stay up most nights fixing things. That was an aspect of their species' first setup in Legends. Vi talks about Black Spire's local radio host, Palob Gadalhi, which is an anagram for Pablo Hidalgo, who provides the voice that can actually be heard at Galaxy's Edge over speakers. A young Hutt is seen as a patron at Oga's Cantina, and this is a huge stretch, but people ask me all the time whatever happened to Rada the Hutt. He'd be in his 50s or 60s at this point, but that's still pretty young for a Hutt, so if you're looking for some hope that he's still out there, then maybe, just maybe, he made his way to Batuu. Archex's time training young stormtroopers is referenced, and he even has to face one of his former trainees. One of the character's backstories as a smuggler involved the First Order stealing a shipment of rhydonium from his ship. That fuel was first established in the Clone Wars series and appeared in a few episodes of Star Wars Rebels as well. When Vi makes contact with Leia and tells her the odds of her team's survival are low, Leia smiles and responds, "Never tell me the odds." Vi considers using a poison tooth she has in her mouth to avoid torture, a tool she first noted having in Phasma. As a distraction, she fights Kath in hand-to-hand combat using the martial art Akani. Akani was first created for Legends as one of the disciplines learned by the Emperor's Royal Guards. Its only other canon mention so far is in Delilah Dawson's short story, Perfect Weapon. Vi asks if Kath's mother was a wart, the amphibious creature from Tatooine that can be seen in Return of the Jedi. And that's everything I caught in Black Spire. If you're interested in checking out the book for yourself, consider picking it up for free on Audible. Just follow the link in the description or visit www.audibletrial.com/Star Wars Explained. The audiobook is out right now, and the production value on all the Star Wars books is very high, with sound effects and music. It's like listening to a movie. Signing up for an Audible trial will get you a credit for one free audiobook, and you can use it on Black Spire, or just about any Star Wars book you can think of. Or get any book you want. The point is, you get a free book, and you'll be supporting the channel when you do. But that's it for today. Keep an eye out for even more Black Spire coverage in the coming weeks. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.